The grand chamber was enormous. Ambassador Taijin stood in the center, feeling very small. Above him, holographic displays showed hundreds of alien faces. Some had scales. Some glowed. Some looked like living crystals. All of them were staring at him. Taijin kept his face calm. He had practiced this for years. Inside, his heart was pounding. This was the moment that would decide Earth's future. High Arbiter Velthox spoke first. The crystalline being's voice echoed through the chamber like breaking glass. Ambassador Taijin of Earth, you have come before this council many times. For 15 years you have asked for membership. For 15 years we have refused. Taijin said nothing. He knew when to stay quiet. Today we make our final decision, Velthox continued. Humanity will not join this council as equals. You are too young, too violent, too unpredictable. The other council members made sounds of agreement. Taijin noticed that some looked uncomfortable. They were the smaller species, the ones who knew what it felt like to be bullied. However, Velthox said, we cannot ignore you. Your species has spread to 12 star systems. You have ships. You have weapons. You are becoming a problem. Now Taijin felt a cold weight in his stomach. This was not going the way he hoped. Therefore, the council offers humanity a choice, Velthox announced. Submit to our authority. Give us control of your military forces. Accept permanent probationary status. Follow our rules. And if we refuse, Taijin asked quietly. The holographic displays changed. Now they showed warships. Hundreds of them. Massive vessels that made Earth's best ships look like toys. They hung in space like a metal storm bristling with weapons. 500 warships, Velthox said, each one capable of destroying a planet. If you refuse, humanity will be quarantined to your solar system. Forever. Any ship that leaves will be destroyed. Any signal that goes out will be blocked. You will be alone in the dark until your sun dies. The chamber was silent. Taijin could hear his own breathing. He looked at the warships on the displays. He thought about Earth, about the 8 billion people who trusted him to protect them. You have 30 days to decide, Velthox said. Choose wisely, Ambassador. Taijin nodded slowly. Then he spoke, his voice steady. I need 72 hours to prepare humanity's official response. Will the council grant this? Some of the council members laughed. Not with joy, but with contempt. They thought Taijin was funny. A tiny human asking for time as if he had any power here. Of course, Velthox said, sounding amused. Take your time, Ambassador. Think carefully about our generous offer. Taijin bowed. It was a formal gesture, respectful. Then he turned and walked toward the exit. His steps were measured, calm. He did not hurry. He did not run. He walked like a man who knew exactly what he was doing. As he reached the door, he paused. Without turning around, he spoke one more time. The Galactic Council has made its position very clear. Humanity will respond in kind. Then he left. The doors closed behind him with a heavy sound. Inside the chamber, Velthox watched the human go. Something about Taijin's last words bothered them, but they could not say why. It was just a human. What could humans possibly do? Taijin's ship left the council station quickly. Inside, he sat alone in his quarters, staring at the wall. His hands were shaking now. He let them shake. There was no one to see. For 15 years, he had been polite, patient, diplomatic. He had smiled at insults. He had accepted rejection with grace, all because he believed that eventually the council would see reason. He had been wrong. They did not want peace. They wanted control. They wanted humanity on its knees. Taijin opened a secure communication channel to Earth. The connection took a moment. Then faces appeared on his screen. These were the people he trusted most. Captain Mirai spoke first. She commanded Earth's newest warship, the Indomitable. How bad is it? Worse than we feared, Taijin said. They want us to surrender everything. Our military, our freedom, our future. Dr. Bora appeared next. She was a scientist who studied alien cultures. Did they give us any options? Submit or die, Taijin said simply. They showed me 500 warships. Made it very clear what happens if we refuse. Commander Hyun was the oldest of them. He had fought in wars before first contact. He had seen the worst of humanity. So they finally showed their true colors. What do we do? Taijin was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was different, harder. They want to see how dangerous we are. They think they can scare us with their ships and their threats. He looked at each of them through the screen. Let's show them what it really means to threaten humanity. Mirai smiled. It was not a happy smile. What did you have in mind? They think we're weak because we're young, because we die quickly, because our technology is primitive, Taijin said. They don't understand that these things don't make us weak. They make us desperate, and desperate humans are the most dangerous thing in the universe. Bora leaned forward. You want to threaten them back with what? They have 500 warships. We have maybe 50 ships that could even reach them. I'm not going to threaten them with ships, Taijin said. I'm going to threaten them with something far worse. I'm going to threaten them with humanity itself. Hyun understood first. His eyes widened. You want to use the old strategies. The ones from before we met the aliens. Exactly, Taijin said. The Council has lived in peace for thousands of years. They don't understand real war. They don't know what it means to fight when you have nothing left to lose. But we do, Mirai said softly. Yes, Taijin agreed. We do. Earth has fought wars that would give these aliens nightmares. We've done things that should be impossible. We've survived when we should have died. Not because we're strong, because we refuse to quit. Bora looked worried. What exactly are you planning? Taijin's expression was grim. I'm going to send them a message. One message. 47 words. And those words are going to change everything. What will the message say? Hyun asked. Taijin smiled, but there was no warmth in it. The truth. The one thing the Council has never really understood about humanity. The thing that makes us different from every other species in the galaxy. He paused, letting the silence stretch. Then he spoke again, and his words were cold as space. We're already dead. We just haven't accepted it yet. And that makes us more dangerous than anything they can imagine. The others stared at him. They understood what he meant. Humans lived short lives compared to most aliens. Humans were fragile. Humans died easily. But that also meant humans had less to lose. Less to fear. Get me everything, Taijin ordered. Every strategy from every war. Every weapon we've ever built. Every tactic we've ever used. I need to know exactly how to make the Council understand what it means to fight a species that knows it's going to die anyway. How long do we have? Mirai asked. 72 hours, Taijin said. Then I go back to the Council, and I deliver the message that will either save us or damn us. And if they don't listen? Bora asked quietly. Taijin looked at her steadily. Then we make sure they regret it. One way or another, the communication ended. Taijin sat alone again in his quarters. He thought about Earth, about the forests and oceans, about the cities full of people who just wanted to live their lives, about his wife and daughter gone now, killed in a stupid border skirmish years ago. He had nothing left to lose, and that, he realized, was exactly what made him the right person for this job. The Council wanted to know how dangerous humanity could be. They were about to find... Dr. Bora stood in front of a massive holographic display. Images floated in the air around her. Pictures of alien species, their planets, their cultures, their histories. She had been studying them for 3 days straight, barely sleeping. Look at this, she said, pointing to a chart. The others gathered around her. Taijin, Mirai, Hyun, and young Jiwon, who worked as Taijin's assistant. Every single species in the Council evolved on easy worlds. Easy? Jiwon asked. She was the youngest, still learning. Safe, Bora explained. Look at the Velthok's homeworld. Stable climate, no major predators, plenty of food. They had maybe 3 dangerous animals on their entire planet. 3. Earth has thousands. She brought up another image. The krill. They evolved on a water world. No droughts, no floods, just endless calm oceans. Their biggest threat was occasional storms. Mirai crossed her arms. So they grew up soft. Not soft, Bora corrected. Just different. They never needed to develop the survival instincts we have. They never had to fight every single day just to stay alive. She pulled up an image of Earth. The planet looked beautiful from space, blue and green and white. But Bora zoomed in, showing different locations. Deserts where nothing could live. Jungles full of poison and predators. Frozen tundras. Volcanic wastelands. Earth is what the galaxy calls a death world, Bora said. It's one of the most dangerous planets ever found. Extreme weather. Deadly animals, diseases, natural disasters. Humans evolved in hell, and it made us into something the Council has never seen before. Hyun nodded slowly. They think we're violent because we're primitive. They don't understand that we're violent because we had to be. It was adapt or die. Exactly, Bora said. She looked tired but excited. I've been studying their wars. All of them. And they're nothing like ours. She brought up battle records. When the Council species fight, it's almost mathematical. They calculate losses. They negotiate. They try to minimize damage. To them, war is like a chess game, logical controlled. Tajin leaned forward. And human wars? Bor's expression became dark. Human wars are insane by their standards. Totaiva. Scorched earth. Nuclear weapons pointed at our own planet ready to fire. We invented the suicide bomber. We created chemical weapons so horrible we banned them ourselves. We've killed millions of our own species over ideas and resources. She pulled up old Earth records. Images from World War II, the Cold War, Vietnam, Afghanistan, the Syrian conflict. The water wars of the 2040s. Each one showed tactics that made even the humans in the room uncomfortable. The Council has never faced guerrilla warfare. Bora continued. They don't understand asymmetric combat. They've never dealt with an enemy that hides among civilians, that uses improvised weapons, that's willing to die just to take the enemy with them. Ji-won looked sick. This is what we're going to threaten them with? Our own worst moments? Tajin put a hand on her shoulder. Not threaten, educate. They need to understand what they're dealing with. Not because we want to hurt them, but because they need to know what happens if they push us too far. Mirai had been quiet, studying the data. Now she spoke up. I've been looking at their military structure. I found something interesting. She pulled up technical specifications of Council warships. These ships are incredible. Advanced shields. Powerful weapons. Faster than light travel that makes our engines look like toys. So how do we fight them? Hyun asked. We don't, Mirai said with a grim smile. That's the point. Look at the design philosophy. Every ship is built to minimize crew casualties. Every strategy is about winning with the least loss of life. Their entire military doctrine is based on preservation. She zoomed in on a warship structure. See these escape pods? Every ship has enough for 3 times the crew. They have medical bays that can handle massive casualties. Their shields prioritize crew compartments over weapon systems. They're built to keep people alive, Tajin observed. Yes, Mirai said, because most Council species live for hundreds or thousands of years. Losing one person is a tragedy. Losing 1,000 is unthinkable. They can't imagine fighting a war where you accept massive casualties. Hyun laughed, but it was a bitter sound. But we can. We've done it before. We sent millions to die in trenches. We firebombed cities. We dropped nuclear weapons on ourselves. That's our advantage, Mirai said. They fight to win cleanly. We fight to survive. And if survival means mutual destruction, we'll take that option. Bora sat down heavily. I've been documenting all of this. Every strategy, every weapon, every tactic humanity has used in war. She looked at her hands. I've been writing about our worst moments, about times when we became monsters. Her voice cracked slightly. Do you know what I found? We invented chemical weapons in World War I. Then we used them. Then we were so horrified by what we'd done that we banned them. But we kept the knowledge. Just in case. That's humanity, Tajin said gently. We're capable of incredible cruelty, but we're also capable of remorse, of learning, of choosing to be better. That's what makes us different from real monsters. But the Council doesn't need to know that part, Hyun added. They just need to know what we're capable of when pushed. Ji-won had been working on her own project. Now she spoke up nervously. I've been studying the Council members. Their psychology, their fears. What did you find? Tajin asked. They're afraid of chaos, Ji-won said. Every single species values order, predictability, control. The idea of mutually assured destruction is literally incomprehensible to them. It's not just scary, it's impossible in their worldview. She brought up her research. I found references to an old Earth concept called the Doomsday Device, a weapon designed to destroy everything if triggered. The Council has records of it. They studied it like it was some kind of insane thought experiment. They couldn't believe any species would actually build such a thing. Ji-won continued. Because to them it's irrational. Why create a weapon that kills everyone, including yourself? Because it works, Hyun said. The Cold War proved it. 2 human nations pointed nuclear weapons at each other for decades. Neither side attacked because both sides knew it would mean total annihilation. Mutually assured destruction kept the peace. But the Council species can't think that way, Ji-won said. Their psychology won't allow it. They see all actions as having an optimal outcome. The idea of choosing no outcome, of choosing destruction, breaks their logic. Taijin stood up. He had been quiet, absorbing everything. Now he walked to the center of the room. So here's what we know. The Council is powerful but cautious. They value life because they live so long. They fight wars like games because they can't imagine true desperation. And they literally cannot understand the concept of choosing death over surrender. And we, he continued, are the opposite. We live short lives. We've faced extinction multiple times. We've fought wars where surrender meant something worse than death. We understand desperation. We've lived with it our entire history. So what's the message? Mirai asked. Teijin walked to a terminal and typed. Words appeared on the screen. Everyone read them in silence. The message was short, 47 words, but those words carried the weight of human history. Bora read it twice. Her face went pale. If you send this, there's no going back. They'll either back down completely or we start a war we can't win, Teijin finished. Yes, I know. And if we start a war we can't win? Juan asked quietly. Teijin looked at each of them. Then we fight it anyway. 'Cause that's what humans do. We don't know how to quit. We don't know how to accept defeat. Even when we should. He unstudied the message again. This will terrify them. You're not threatening to fight their fleet. You're threatening to make victory meaningless. Exactly, Teijin said. We can't beat them in open combat. But we can make them understand that attacking us costs more than they're willing to pay. Not in ships. Not in resources. But in something they value more than anything else. Their lives, Mirai said softly. Their long, precious lives. We're going to make them choose, Teijin said. They can leave us alone, or they can fight a species that has nothing to lose. A species that has already accepted death. A species that will drag them into the darkness with us. Bora wiped her eyes. This is insane. We're going to threaten genocide. No, Teijin corrected gently. We're going to threaten mutual destruction. There's a difference. We're not monsters. We're survivors, and survivors do whatever it takes. He looked at the message one more time. In 72 hours, I'll stand in front of the council again. And I'll speak these words, and everything will change. Are you sure about this? Jiwan asked. Teijin thought about his family, about Earth, about 8 billion people who just wanted to live. He thought about the council's arrogance, their threats, their assumption that humans would bow down like everyone else. No, he admitted. I'm not sure. But I do know one thing. If we submit now, we die slowly. If we fight, we might die quickly. But at least we die free. The room was quiet. Then one by one, they nodded. They understood. This was humanity's last card. Their final gamble. It would either save them or doom them. But at least they would go down fighting. The Grand Chamber looked exactly the same as before. Same holographic displays. Same alien faces staring down. Same feeling of being very small and alone. But Teijin was different now. He walked to the center of the chamber with steady steps. His heart was not pounding this time. He felt calm. Eerily calm. He had made his choice. Now he would live with it or die with it. High Arbiter Velthox barely looked at him. The crystalline being was reviewing documents, clearly expecting a simple surrender. Ambassador Teijin, have you come to accept our generous terms? I have come to deliver humanity's official response, Teijin said. Please proceed. Velthox still did not look up. The gesture was deliberately insulting. Teijin took a breath. Then he spoke clearly, calmly, letting each word carry across the chamber. The Galactic Council has 500 warships capable of destroying Earth. Humanity has 8 billion people who know they're going to die anyway. Now Velthox looked up. Something in Teijin's tone had changed. This was not a surrender. Teijin continued. You have made your demonstration. Now we will make ours. We have identified your homeworlds. Every single one. Several council members began to protest, but Teijin spoke over them. His voice remained calm, which somehow made it worse. This message is being broadcast to your worlds simultaneously. If one human civilian is harmed by council action, we will not target your military. We will not target your infrastructure. We will target what you value most. Your immortality. The chamber erupted. Aliens shouted in dozens of languages. Some demanded Teijin be arrested immediately. Others called for Earth's destruction right now, before humans could do anything. But Teijin kept talking, and something about his complete lack of fear made them listen. You believe 500 ships make you invincible. Perhaps they do, but we invented the suicide bomber. We weaponized disease. We built doomsday devices designed to end all life rather than surrender. These are not theories to us. These are tools we have actually used. He walked in a slow circle looking at each council member. You have had peace for thousands of years. We have been at war since we picked up rocks and turned them into weapons. You fight to minimize casualties. We fight to survive at any cost. Velthok stood up, their crystalline form glowing with anger. This is madness. You cannot threaten the entire council. You are one species. We are thousands. You are right, Tajin agreed. We cannot fight you and win. So we will not try to win. We will simply make sure that if we lose, you lose everything too. He pulled out a data device and activated it. Information flooded the council's systems. Verified intelligence data, real-time sensor readings, locations and specifications. We have deployed devices near every council homeworld, Tajin said. Your security forces missed them. They were looking for advanced technology. Ours is primitive, simple, effective. The displays showed it all. Small probes, hidden in asteroid belts, buried on moons, drifting in empty space. Each one containing weapons. Not fancy energy weapons, just simple, brutal tools of mass destruction. Biological agents, Tajin listed calmly. Antimatter charges. Nuclear devices. Some things we haven't even named because we hoped we would never use them. All crude by your standards. All absolutely lethal. A council member, a floating jellyfish-like being, spoke up. You are bluffing. This is a desperate lie. Check your sensors, Tajin said. The data is all there. We have hidden nothing. We want you to know they exist. We want you to understand what happens if you attack us. Council military advisors scrambled to verify. Within minutes, their faces told the story. The devices were real. The humans had actually done it. But this is insane, another council member said. If you deploy these weapons, you doom yourselves too. Our retaliation would be immediate and absolute. Yes, Tajin agreed simply. That is exactly the point. The silence that followed was heavy. The council members were trying to understand, trying to process what they were hearing. A species that would guarantee its own destruction rather than submit. It made no sense. Tajin delivered his final lines. You threaten us with death. We have already accepted it. Humans live on average 80 years. You live thousands. Every human is born knowing they will die soon. We are not afraid of death. We are afraid of dying without meaning. He paused, letting that sink in. So the question is not whether we will die. We know we will. The question is, can you accept the same? Are you willing to sacrifice your long lives, your ancient cultures, your immortal civilizations, just to subjugate one short-lived species? Velthok stared at him. For the first time in thousands of years, the ancient being felt something unfamiliar. Fear. Real, genuine fear. There is one more thing, Tajin said quietly. The devices have dead man's switches. If Earth goes silent, if our government is destroyed, if we are unable to transmit a daily cancellation code, they activate automatically. You cannot win by destroying us. You can only guarantee mutual destruction. And unlike you, we are comfortable with that outcome. A younger council member, barely a century old, spoke up. This is barbaric, uncivilized, evil. Perhaps, Tajin said. But it is also effective. You came to us with threats. You showed us warships. You told us to submit or die. We are simply responding in kind. You taught us that might makes right. We are showing you what happens when someone weaker applies that lesson creatively. He turned to leave. Then at the doorway, he stopped and looked back. One more thing. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking that you can find and disarm all our devices. You are thinking that you can strike fast enough to prevent retaliation. You are welcome to try. But ask yourselves this. Are you absolutely certain you can find them all? Are you willing to bet your entire civilization on being right? Because we only need one to get through. Just one. And that is another thing you should know about humans. We are very, very good at hiding things. We spent thousands of years hiding from predators. It is in our nature. Tajin smiled, but there was no joy in it. You have 30 days to decide. Think carefully. Choose wisely. And remember, we have nothing to lose that we have not already lost. Then he walked out. The doors closed behind him. The chamber remained silent for a long moment. Then everyone started shouting at once. Outside the chamber, Ji-won was waiting. She fell into step beside Tajin as he walked toward his ship. I watched the broadcast, she said quietly. The whole galaxy is in chaos. Good, Tajin said. Some council members are calling for immediate war. Others are arguing for negotiation. Some are checking their own defenses, terrified that we actually did what you said. They reached the ship. Jiwan hesitated, then asked the question that had been bothering her. Sir, did we actually deploy those devices? Tajan looked at her. His expression was impossible to read. Does it matter? Of course it matters, Jiwan said. If we did, then we are actually threatening genocide. If we did not, then we are bluffing, and they might call that bluff. You are thinking about this wrong, Tajan said. He gestured back toward the council chamber. They believe we did it. That is what matters. They believe we are crazy enough, desperate enough, and capable enough to actually deploy doomsday weapons around their worlds. And that belief, he continued, is based on our history, on things we have actually done before. We have used nuclear weapons. We have created and deployed chemical weapons. We have burned entire cities. We have done terrible things when we felt we had no choice. So whether the devices exist or not, the threat is real, because they know we are capable of it. That is humanity's real weapon, not technology, not numbers, but the absolute certainty that we will do whatever it takes to survive. Jiwan thought about that. So we are playing poker with the fate of our species. Yes, Tajan admitted. And the key to poker is making your opponent believe you have the cards whether you do or not. That seems incredibly risky, Jiwan said. It is, Tajan agreed. But doing nothing was also risky. Submitting was certain death, just slower. At least this way we have a chance. They boarded the ship. As the engines powered up, Jiwan asked one more question. What if they attack anyway? Tajan looked out at the stars. Then we find out if our bluff was really a bluff. And either way, humanity will make sure the galaxy remembers us. The ship left the station. Behind them, the council chamber was still in chaos. Some members demanded immediate military action. Others urged caution. A few quietly began checking the defenses around their homeworlds. High Arbiter Velthox sat alone in their quarters after the session ended. They had lived for 3,000 years. They had seen the rise and fall of civilizations. They had witnessed wars and peace and everything in between, but they had never seen anything like humanity. A species so young, so weak, so absolutely terrifyingly willing to drag everyone into death with them. Velthox pulled up human history files. They read about World War II, the Cold War, nuclear standoffs, the concept of mutually assured destruction. It was all there, documented, verified. Humans had actually lived under the threat of total annihilation for decades, and somehow they had survived it. The ancient being realized something disturbing. Humanity was not bluffing. Not really. They might not have deployed the devices. But they absolutely would if pushed far enough. That was not bravado. It was simple fact proven by history. For the first time in millennia, Velthox did not know what to do. They had bullied and threatened. The emergency session started 3 hours after Tajan left. Every council member was present. No one had slept. The chamber buzzed with panic and anger. This is unacceptable, a reptilian delegate hissed. We cannot allow a primitive species to threaten us like this. We must respond with overwhelming force and trigger their dead man's switches, another delegate countered. You heard the human. If Earth falls silent, the devices activate automatically. Attacking them guarantees our destruction. Perhaps they are bluffing, someone suggested. Our military has confirmed the devices exist. Velthox said tiredly. We detected them exactly where the humans said they would be. They are real. The only question is whether they contain the weapons the humans claim. Can we disarm them? A council member asked. The military advisor, a tall being covered in armor plates, shook their head. We have found 37 devices so far. Intelligence suggests there may be hundreds more. Each one is different. Different designs. Different triggers. Disarming one does not tell us how to disarm the others. So they planned for this, Velthox said. They knew we would try to find them. They made each device unique to slow us down. It is brilliant in its simplicity, the military advisor admitted reluctantly. Crude technology but applied with sophisticated strategy. Very human. A council member stood up, their forms shimmering with rage. I say we call their bluff. Destroy Earth now. Accept whatever retaliation comes. We have 500 warships. They have primitive weapons hidden in space. We will survive. Will you volunteer your homeworld to test that theory? Another delegate asked coldly. Because I noticed several devices near your planet. The angry delegate sat down. The chamber fell silent. That was the problem. Every council member was afraid for their own world. Their own people. Their own long lives. Velthox called for a break. As the delegates dispersed, the High Arbiter summoned their top xenopsychology experts. I need to understand these humans. How can an entire species think this way? The lead expert, a floating orb of pure thought energy, pulsed nervously. We have been studying human psychology since first contact. They are unlike any species we have encountered. Explain, Velthox ordered. Most species develop what we call loss aversion. They fear losing what they have more than they desire gaining what they do not have. This is logical. This is rational. This keeps species stable and peaceful. The expert displayed data streams. Humans have this trait too. But they also have something else. Under extreme threat, their psychology inverts. They stop fearing loss. They start accepting it as inevitable, and once they accept loss, they become capable of anything. You are saying they have accepted death? Velthox asked. Yes, and that makes them unpredictable. We can model what a species will do when trying to survive. We cannot model what they will do when they have stopped caring about survival. Another expert added more. Their planet is partially responsible. Earth is classified as a Class 3 death world. Extreme conditions. High predator density. Frequent environmental catastrophes. To survive there, humans evolved rapid adaptation and high-risk tolerance. They learned to take desperate chances because playing it safe meant slow death. Better to risk everything on a bold move than die gradually from caution. Velthox absorbed this, so when we threatened them, we triggered their desperation response. Exactly. And desperate humans are the most dangerous force in nature. Meanwhile, on Earth, reactions were mixed. Some leaders were horrified by Tajin's gambit. Others praised his courage. Most were simply terrified of what came next. Commander Hyun stood in a secure facility deep underground. Around him, screens showed sensor feeds from across the galaxy. Council fleets were moving. Ships positioning. Defenses activating. They are scared, he observed to his staff. Good. Fear makes people careful. Sir, we are receiving communications from smaller council species, an aide reported. They want to talk privately. Interesting, Hyun said. Put them through. The first contact was from a species called the Drine. Small, peaceful traders who had been pushed around by larger council members for centuries. We want you to know, the Drine representative said quietly, that not all of us agree with the council's treatment of your species. Some of us understand what it is like to be bullied by the powerful. Are you offering support? Hyun asked carefully. We cannot do so publicly, but we can share intelligence. Tell you which council members are most afraid. Which ones are pushing for war? Which ones might be willing to negotiate? Over the next hours, more species reached out. All of them small. All of them tired of being dominated. They saw humanity's defiance as inspiration. If humans could stand up to the council, maybe they could too. The council is fracturing, Hyun reported to Taijin. The smaller species are breaking ranks. The larger ones cannot agree on a response. They are paralyzed. Good, Taijin said. That buys us time. Time to prepare for whatever comes next. About that, Hyun said carefully, I need to tell you something. The devices. The ones we deployed around their homeworlds? Taijin waited. We only managed to deploy 3 of them, and they are not armed. They are just sensor packages. We did not have time or resources for more. There was a long silence. Then Taijin started laughing. It was not a happy laugh. It was the laugh of a man who had bet everything on a bluff and was only now realizing how close to the edge he was dancing. So we are completely bluffing, he said finally. Not completely, Hyun corrected. The 3 devices are real. The council found them. They verified they exist. But yes, there are not hundreds. There are 3, and they cannot actually harm anyone. But the council does not know that, Taijin said slowly. They cannot verify it without revealing their intelligence capabilities. Hyun agreed. And even if they suspect we are bluffing, they cannot be certain. The risk is too high. So we survive on uncertainty, Taijin said, on their fear of what we might do. It is the human way, Hyun said with a grim smile. We have always survived by making enemies think twice before attacking. In space near the edge of Council territory, Captain Mirai commanded the Indomitable. Her mission was to patrol, to watch, to be visible, to remind the Council that humans were here and ready. Her sensors detected a Council patrol approaching, not attacking, just observing, scanning her ship, probably trying to analyze human capabilities. "Captain, they are running deep scans on our hull," her tactical officer reported. "Should we activate countermeasures?" "No," Mirai said. "Do the opposite. Broadcast everything. Send them our complete sensor data. Show them that we know they are scanning us. Show them we are not afraid." The broadcast went out. The Council patrol received human sensor data showing exactly what they were doing. It was a message without words. "We see you. We know what you are doing. And we do not care." The Council patrol hesitated. Then slowly they withdrew. Not because the human ship was stronger, but because humans were acting like they had nothing to lose, and that made them unpredictable. Dangerous. "They are retreating," the tactical officer said, surprised. "Of course they are," Mirai said. "They are trying to figure us out, trying to understand if we are bluffing, and the more we act like we are not afraid, the more they will doubt themselves." She looked at her crew. "Remember this moment. We did not fire a single shot. We did not threaten them. We just made them uncertain, and uncertainty is our greatest weapon." Back on the Council station, Velthok sat alone in their private chamber. They had lived for 3,000 years. They had seen civilizations rise and fall. They had been so certain that humanity would submit. Young species always did, but humans were different. They had called the Council's bluff. And in doing so, they had revealed a terrible truth. The Council was powerful but cautious. They could destroy Earth, but the cost might be their own worlds. They could try to disarm the human devices, but they could not be certain of finding them all. Every option carried unacceptable risk. Velthox pulled up a secure communication channel. It was old, very old, a frequency the Council had not used in thousands of years. A direct line to someone they had hoped never to contact again. The connection established. A voice answered. It was cold, ancient, and utterly without emotion. "This is High Arbiter Velthox of the Galactic Council. I need to report a situation. A new species has emerged that may be classified as a threat." The voice on the other end was quiet for a moment. Then it spoke, and Velthox felt genuine fear for the first time in centuries. "A threat? Interesting. It has been a long time since we needed to perform a culling." "Tell us about this species." Velthox hesitated. What had they done? They had just called the extinction fleet. The beings that swept the galaxy every few millennia, eliminating species that became too dangerous. The nightmare that the Council was formed to prevent. "Wait," Velthox said. "Perhaps I was hasty. We may be able to resolve this ourselves." "Too late," the cold voice said. "You have filed a threat report. We will investigate. Provide us the coordinates of this species." Velthox closed the connection, their crystalline form dimming with dread. They had tried to scare the humans. Instead, they had attracted something far worse, something that made the Council look gentle by comparison. And now humanity was about to. 1 year had passed since the first battle. The galaxy had changed in ways no one could have predicted. What started as Earth versus the Council had become something bigger, a movement. A revolution. The Council was no longer united. Suran and 5 other members had openly broken with Vexithara. They called themselves the Reform Faction. They argued that the war was illegal, that humanity deserved respect, that the Council had become exactly what it was supposed to prevent. Tyranny. Ambassador Jiwon Kim worked day and night building alliances. She met with representatives from dozens of species. Some were curious about humanity. Others were inspired by Earth's resistance. A few offered secret support, technology, intelligence, resources. The galaxy was watching, and many liked what they saw. Meanwhile, Earth's military grew stronger. Admiral Do-Yun Park now commanded over 200 warships. Human shipyards worked without rest. New designs incorporated captured Council technology. Engineers reverse-engineered systems that should have taken decades to understand. Chief Engineer Sora Han had outdone herself. The new ships were faster than anything in Council space. Their shields could take hits that would have destroyed the old vessels. And the weapons were devastating. But Vexithara had not been idle either. He assembled a massive force. Ships from the 6 loyal Council members, mercenaries hired with promises of wealth. Even criminals offered pardons in exchange for service. His new fleet numbered over 100 warships, and he made a decision that would change everything. He would not attack Earth. He would attack Zuran's homeworld of Luminos. The message was clear. Support the humans and you will pay the price. When news reached Earth, President Yunji called her cabinet. They gathered in the war room. Screen showed Luminos, a beautiful planet with crystal cities that glowed like stars, home to billions of peaceful beings. Vexithara will destroy them, Jiwan said, not because they threaten him, but because they supported us. This is our fault. No, Yunji replied firmly. This is Vexithara's fault. He chose violence. He chose tyranny. But we can choose differently. We can help. Admiral Hyunwoo Lee pulled up tactical data. Luminos is 3 weeks away at maximum speed. Vexithara's fleet will reach it in 2 weeks. We cannot get there in time, Sorahan spoke up. Actually, we can. I have been working on something. A new faster-than-light drive. It is experimental. Dangerous, even. But it could cut travel time in half. How dangerous? Yunji asked. 20% chance of catastrophic failure. The ships might not survive the journey. The room fell silent. Those were terrible odds. But Do-hyun stepped forward. I will take the fleet. Give me volunteers only. No one will be ordered to take this risk. Yunji looked at him. Are you sure? Zuran helped us when no one else would. The Luminari stood with humanity when we were alone. Now they need us. I will not abandon them. Within hours, every human warship had volunteered. Not one captain declined. They would all go together. Yunji addressed the fleet before they left. You are not just defending Luminos. You are defending the principle that tyranny will not win, that those who stand for justice will not stand alone. Go with our hope. Go with our pride. And come back victorious. The human fleet engaged the experimental drives. The risk was real. 3 ships were lost during the journey. Their drives failed and they were torn apart by the forces involved. But the rest made it. They arrived at Luminos just as Vexthara's fleet entered orbit. The Council forces were preparing to bombard the planet. But they stopped when the human ships appeared. Vexithara could not believe it. How did they get here so fast? It got worse for him. Ships from the Reform faction arrived too. Zuran had called for help, and other council members had sent their fleets. The Loyalists were suddenly outnumbered. Do-hyun opened a channel to all ships. This ends now. Vexthara, you have a choice. Withdraw peacefully or face the consequences. Vexithara's response was to open fire. The second battle began. It was larger than the first. More ships. More firepower. The fighting spread across 3 star systems as fleets maneuvered and clashed. Human ships fought alongside alien allies. The Reform faction vessels had good technology but lacked human tactical thinking. Do-hyun coordinated the combined fleet brilliantly. He used human speed to strike weak points. He used Reform faction firepower to hammer strong positions. Lieutenant Jamin Kwan worked his station frantically. He analyzed battle data in real time. Energy patterns, movement vectors, firing solutions, and he saw something. A flaw in how the Loyalist fleet moved. They bunched up when threatened, thinking there was safety in numbers. Sir, I have an idea. If we hit them from 3 sides at once, right here. Jamin highlighted a spot on the tactical display. They will cluster together. Then we can use our railguns to punch through multiple ships with single shots. Do-hyun looked at the plan. It was risky. It required perfect timing. But if it worked, it could break the enemy fleet. Send the coordinates to all ships. We go in 60 seconds. The attack was perfectly executed. Human ships came in from the north. Reform faction vessels from the south. And a third group from below. The Loyalist fleet did exactly what Jamin predicted. They clustered together for mutual defense. Fire railgun slugs crossed the distance at nearly the speed of light. They hit the clustered formation and kept going. One slug would punch through a first ship, then a second, sometimes even a third. The damage was catastrophic. The Loyalist fleet broke apart. Some ships tried to run. Others fought on desperately. But the momentum had shifted completely. Within hours, it was over. Vexithara's flagship was surrounded. He had no choice but to surrender or die. For the first time in 50,000 years, the Galactic Council had been decisively defeated in battle. The celebration on Luminos was massive. Luminari citizens filled the streets cheering their rescuers. Human soldiers were welcomed as heroes. Zuran personally thanked Do-hyun. You saved us. You risked everything for people you barely know. Do-hyun smiled. You stood with us when we were alone. This is what allies do. Back on Earth, Yunji and Jiwon watched the news coverage. The galaxy was talking about nothing else. Humanity had not just defended itself. It had defended others. It had built a coalition. It had changed everything. This is no longer just about us, Jiwon said. This is about the future of the galaxy. The old order is breaking down. Something new is being born. Yunji nodded. Then we need to make sure what replaces it is better. Not just different, better. Over the following months, the Reform faction grew. More council members joined. More species expressed support. A new alliance was forming. They called it the New Galactic Alliance. Its charter promised representation for all, protection for all, justice for all. Earth became a founding member. President Yunji and Councilor Zuran served as co-leaders. The irony was not lost on anyone. The species that had been rejected and mocked was now helping to shape the galaxy's future. But Vexithara still held 3 council seats. He retreated to his homeworld and refused to surrender. He had loyal forces and strong defenses. The war was not quite over. The new alliance faced a choice. Attack and risk massive casualties, or negotiate and risk looking weak. Jiwan proposed a third option. We demonstrate overwhelming force without using it. Show Vexithara that continued resistance is pointless. Then offer generous terms. Let him surrender with dignity. Sorahan built something special for this mission. A massive platform that could fire a single railgun slug with unbelievable power, not to destroy planets, but to punch through any defense. It was called the Siege Breaker. The Alliance fleet arrived at Vexithara's homeworld. G1 broadcast a message directly to the population. We come in peace. We offer fair terms. Join the new alliance. Help build a better future. Only Vexithara must answer for his crimes. While she negotiated, Dohyun positioned the Siege Breaker. It powered up. A demonstration was arranged. One shot. It punched through 3 layers of the planet's shields like they were paper. The defenses that had stood for centuries were suddenly obsolete. The psychological impact was total. Vexithara's own people turned on him. His nobles arrested him rather than see their world destroyed. The war ended not with violence but with surrender. Vexithara was tried before a tribunal. Representatives from 100 species served as judges. The trial was fair. Evidence was presented. Vexithara was convicted of violating the Council's own founding principles. Of illegal warfare. Of crimes against peace, the sentence was exile, not death. Humanity had insisted on mercy. We do not execute defeated enemies, Yunji had argued. We prove we are better through our actions. 6 months later, the new Galactic Alliance held its founding ceremony. The location was symbolic. Concordia Prime. The same world where humanity had been rejected. Jiwan stood where she had once been mocked. Now she read the Alliance Charter to representatives from hundreds of worlds. All species equal. All voices heard. All rights protected. Never again would the strong oppress the weak. Yunji spoke next. We did not seek this role. We only wanted freedom. But freedom for one means nothing if others remain in chains. Today we pledge that the new alliance will protect all who seek justice, all who value peace, all who believe in a better tomorrow. Zur-An addressed the crowd. The old council forgot that power must serve justice, not the other way around. Humanity, the youngest among us, reminded us of this truth. They taught ancient civilizations what courage means.